Yo, what is up, my peoples? So the other day I was just discovering what can only be described as the dumbest thing I have ever discovered. But I've discovered a lot of dumb things, so let me fill you in on what it is that I discovered. So if you thought MBTI was wacky and just annoying, then the Enneagram is even worse. They have like all these weird systems that might excite a stupid nerd like me, and would definitely not excite normal people like you that have stuff to do. But I mean, it's kind of interesting for me because I have a really retarded sense of what's interesting and what's not. The psychology typology system. Psychology typology. Basically, it revolves around 9 different personalities. I'm just going to brief through them really quickly. 1, perfectionist. 2 is the helper. 3 is the achiever. 4 is the creative, melancholy thingamajig. 5 is the investigator. 6 is the loyalist. 7 is the enthusiast. 8 is the challenger. 9 is the peacemaker. And so basically, there are 3 triads in the Enneagram, and each one consists of one number that expresses the emotion that they struggle with, and one that represses it, and just one that completely falls asleep to it and ignores it because they're giga chads. So for example, take the anger triad. In that one, the type 8, 9, and 1 are part of the anger triad, and 8 is the one that expresses it. 9 is the one that falls asleep to it, and 1 is the one that holds it back. So yeah. Now I knew I have traits of a 4, which is the individualist, and 3, which is the achiever. Um, which is kind of interesting because on one side I think I'm more of a 4 than a 3, and 3s are usually the type with ENTJs, plus 3s are disciplined, and I'm like, what discipline? What do you mean discipline? But at the same time, um 3s have this natural sense of duty and obligation that they must finish a work when they've started it. And people with the 3 thing, no matter how stupid the project is, they have to finish it, otherwise they're just gonna have this hole in their thing. And I'm like, everybody has a hole in their thing, if you know what I mean. But no, that's not what I meant. Everybody has a hole in their thing. Because if by thing you mean body, then no. But if thing you mean the deep down, like in your soul, then yeah. I usually just feel sort of empty when I'm not able to complete the work. And even if it was a dumb project like CSHMKMK that I've lost all interest in, I still managed to get it done. I just shared that I completely hated CSHMKMK. No. What was fun is some engaging events like the Minecraft storytelling session where I just got to improv, and I got to show my creativity, and I also got to just play Minecraft and improv and get killed by zombies while trying to make an awful dirt base. So the Minecraft session was fun, at least. But every other session of CSH and KMK was just straight up pain. I got so lazy at one point that I just decided to do this weird storytelling thing where I just held the comic in my hand and I just showed it in front of the camera like some lazy idiot. Yeah. So apparently 3s are the ones that it depends on the order of your reactions. So the anger triad is 8, 9, and 1, and the fear triad is 5, 6, and 7, and last the shame triad is 2, 3, and 4. So basically, 4s are more likely to express their shame, basically saying they're the most likely ones to get pissed off and start yelling. Basically, that's the only way to describe it. And 3s are the ones that fall asleep to it. They just completely ignore it. They're like, nope, I am not going to get held back by this. I'm going to acknowledge this, then keep moving. And 2 is like, they still feel shame, but they repress it. They're like, it's okay, I can keep this to myself. Until they reach that one point where they just can't hold it anymore and they end up shouting, and that's where the reputation goes in the toilet. So, I'm getting a little bit of glances. I should probably wrap this up because this is getting boring because only an idiot like me would be interested in this. I figured that part out the hard way. Basic. Basically, I think I have a higher 4 plus 4W3 is more likely to be an ENFP type compared to 3W4, which is more likely to be ENTJ, which is extremely weird. But at the same time, I think my first reaction to shame is to just hold it in. But I've already discussed how I have the 4 type. Like I can find beauty in melancholy. Like for example, this is hard. This is difficult to explain, but I can actually imagine characters making memories together, like going on a roller coaster, doing all that stuff together, and just having fun, like chilling, basically. But I present it with like a sentimental tune, and I sort of run it through my head in slow motion, so it just sounds melancholy and emotional. And I find joy in dreaming up those things because they make me cry. They expose my weak side that I show alone. Because I don't. Why would I cry in public? Like no idiot cries in public. Because a majority of the thinking types, especially the ones that are ET, those guys are going to give you a hard time if you cry in public. So that's why EXTX, yeah. They're just going to give you a hard time if you cry in public. So I'm like, yeah, whatever. I'd rather to keep my EXTX friends because they are pretty sick. I'll give them that. And yeah, I just repress that inner feeling, just like ignore it or fall asleep to it. That's even better. But yeah, those are some traits that explain why I have the 4. So that means I can't have the 2. It has to be 3 that falls asleep to the emotion. So 3W4 was what I thought anyway, because icon from Interconnection Cube is 3W4. Okay, I wrapped up this whole Enneagram thing because this is actually getting kind of boring. So yeah, I just completed Tilting Bridges, and now Mario's waltzing his way over the other levels. So actually, one last thing I wanted to say is that I thought I would 7W8 for a second because seven's core reaction is that ENFPs with the 7W8 they act like ENTPs, and I'm like, yeah, well, I'm chill and I sort of manage to charm people in social settings. Just by knowing when to laugh or some things like that. Maybe I thought maybe that would be the case, but I thought maybe that was 7W8, because like they show fear first, they don't show anger first. But I always thought of myself as a guy who struggled with anger, but it turns out not. Okay, this time enough Enneagram. I'm done with this. I'm absolutely done with this. All right, let's go. Actually, even if you showed them making memories in slow motion, if you showed them making memories with the sentimental music, the music makes it 10 times worse, or rather 10 times more impactful. And it just becomes even more impactful when you add the slow motion, because slow motion is just like the finishing touch, right? It makes it finishing touch. But I usually keep these things to myself, and usually I make an effort to hold it back in most situations. But like the more I draw my comics, the more I sort of like visualize my stories, the more I tap into my imagination, the more I have a tendency to think about these kinds of things. Wait, remember the good old days where I used to like spice up my Mario skin? Let's try that. How about that? Pretty much the only redeeming quality of it.
You didn't actually make the rap battle. You did make the rap battle, by the way.
Yeah, but yeah.
No one ever actually watches it.
Yeah, the rap battle is in the CSHMKM game, so at least in the middle of all that garbage, you get to hear something that's pleasing to the ears rather than.
You know what? But you know what the sad part? You actually have to listen to all that garbage in order to get. You have to watch all that garbage in order to find where the.
Actually, you can just skip through your mouse, and where you see the pink flame, you can probably guess that I was too lazy to make a song video for that. Dude, I used to be so hardworking. What happened?
That's just sad.
Maybe it's just because I figured out that because of my TE function, I have a chance to work better extroverted, but some crap like that. All right, well, that's it. Actually, let me just finish this before I quit this Enneagram session. This was about the dumbest video I've ever created. It's called the Enneagram Nonsense. That's what I'm going to call this video. If it's not called the Enneagram Nonsense, you have the permission to unsubscribe. All right, have fun.